Welcome to Relax and Chat, episode 37. We've got a very special guest today, Leonard Apa, author of Introducing the Scarlet Scrapper. How you doing today, Lenny?
Doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Been looking forward to speaking with you. Uh, the Scarlet Scrapper is one heck of a story. I freaking love it. So I love being able to speak with the authors who created that whole entire world. That's just really fascinating for me. So without me jabbering too much, I'll jump right into the questions. The first thing I've got to ask you, because the story has a lot of layers, what inspired this story? What was the initial inspiration for introducing the Scarlet Scrapper?
So this is actually kind of a fun story. So there's a short story anthology that I saw on Facebook. This is back in 2015. And it was about superheroes. And I was like, cool, I love superheroes. And then for some reason, Frank Hodge just popped in my head, who's the main character in the book. And I was like, well, what about writing this story about he's a hero, but not necessarily your traditional superhero. And then so I wrote the short story. So 2015 was the short story got published, and now 2025, 10 years later, the novel's being published. And actually, it was also in September of 2015. So it's almost like 10 years to the day. And I was always in love with heroes and the old radio serials. I ended up stumbling upon them back in high school, and I was just like, wow, these are fantastic. And then just kind of blew up from there. So
Ah, very cool. So I want to ask, how did you decide, once you had a pretty good idea of the characters and what you had in mind for a storyline, how did you decide what decade the story would be set in?
well, it for me, it was kind of a given that it had to be 30s or 40s because obviously the radio shows, and obviously the 50s television's invented. But I wanted it to be really kind of I always had a fascination with like World War II and that time, and just the different, and I mentioned them in the book, the propaganda posters, like, loose lips sink ships, and all that stuff is always so cool to me and so fascinating. And I just felt like if I was ever going to go back to a time period, it would be the 1940s. And obviously, it's the glamorized Hollywood version that I'm imagining, but it's just always been a time period that I've loved, and the actors and the style. I always loved the hats and the hats that you had in those pictures from, I think, Christmas. Your fedoras, those are gorgeous. I love them. So
Yeah, I felt for many years that I was born a little bit too late.
yeah,
Like you, I don't know a whole lot of reality of the 40s. I know I would not have wanted to be tied up in a war,
no,
but the glamorized Hollywood version of the 40s, I absolutely freaking love. I'm
yeah,
with you, and the fedora, actually decades before that, but including the 40s, the fedora was a staple. And oh, I just freaking love them. My wife got me one for Christmas, and I instantly fell in love. I think I've got something like 11 hats now.
nice.
I just plain love them. I would have worn one today, but I'm using I don't know what you call it, a virtual background here.
Yeah.
And when I put a hat on in a virtual background, the hat goes funky and it sort of looks like Conehead from Saturday Night Live, you
Okay.
know?
Well done. Yeah.
And I'm goofy enough without that happening. So I'm curious, the story seems so realistic. Uh, every part of it, the way the characters act, the way they speak, the settings. Did it take a lot of research to be able to get, their dialogue, the settings, even the type of vehicles, the details in the story? Did it take a lot of research to get those right?
I feel like the most research I had to do was really honestly researching New York City itself. And I looked at a lot of photos, excuse me, photos of New York in the 40s and even the 30s and things like that. Checking out like the police cars, what they looked like back then and things like that. For the dialogue and everything, like I said, I've always been so interested in the 1940s and old movies. I'm a movie buff. I love anything, way back. And I used to watch that stuff in high school, and that's really where my love kind of started. And then with some of the dialogue, it's lifted almost like right out of the old, like the slang, like the and how, and like not really ways we talk today, or even back then they did, outside of the dramatizations. But so I feel like I had been researching a lot of this stuff honestly my entire life without knowing it, just because of my fascination with the time period. So
Yeah, I can't tell you how many old black and white 1940s style movies I've watched.
yeah,
Uh, James Cagney, Humphrey Bogart,
yeah,
all of those fellas from that time period. So cool.
yeah. Yeah.
So very cool. So I want to ask you, I understand you are working on a sequel to this great story.
I actually just finished. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. I'm hoping you can share some tidbits about the sequel, of course, withholding spoilers, but I'm sure anyone that picks up Introducing the Scarlet Scrapper, they're going to be starving for more. So there has to be a sequel. So what do you say? You share some little tidbits about it?
Yeah, of course. So, like I said, I did just finish the first draft probably about 2 weeks ago. Um, so it takes place 25 years later. So now we're in the 60s, and it's going to be, instead of a radio show like the original book, it's going to be a television show, like kind of like Batman 66 or Green Hornet even. And it's going to be more. So in the first book, it revolves mostly around Frank because he's our adult hero. In the second book, Frank is still very prevalent, still a main character, but Thomas is the main character. So
Oh, very cool.
I also have a third one planned, set today, 2025. So
Oh, wow. That'd be cool. That'd be great. And it'd be great because Thomas is a little boy in the
yep,
original story, this introducing the Scarlet Scrapper. I think he was like what, 12 years old, something like
actually, it
that?
was 8.
8? Yeah.
Yeah,
And oh boy, he goes through a lot. So, I was born in 1964. So I grew up kind of in the early 70s is when a lot of my personality was developed. And in this original story, this innocent lad, Thomas, his whole personality is developed big time. So to be amazing to see what he's like later in the sequel, that's going to be very, very cool. I'm going to read that. Oh, yeah. So if you
yeah,
need
I
a
was
book reader,
excited to
you
write
just
it.
let me know.
So,
I'll work it in my schedule somehow.
definitely.
I like to give every guest a chance to, I sort of guide the show with my questions, but I always try to give the guests a chance to share with the audience any thoughts you may have on pretty much any subject. I don't censor anything unless it's hate speech, which I know I don't have to worry about that with you. So if you like, you can address the audience with anything you'd like to share, sir.
Ooh, I don't know. That's a very broad stroke there. And I'd be lying if I said I did read your questions. I looked them over a few times. But I'd be lying if I said I actually thought of something to talk about. You want to lead me somewhere, and I'll discuss it with you.
Okay. Well, since did full disclosure, I was the editor of Introducing the Scarlet Scrapper,
And
so
an
I know
excellent.
this story intimately. So I also have gotten to know the author quite well. Leonard Apa is a real writer, a skilled, very capable author. So I'm going to ask you what your thoughts are on AI and the creative arts.
Oof. So it's interesting. As every other person I actually know in the creative arts has said, and I'm not saying there aren't people out there who go the other way, but I don't believe that it should be used in the creative arts, especially with the writing. From us, that yes, the computer can emulate, but it's never going to really hit the notes that we can. It's never going to know our experience like we do. There's a reason that we've been writing and telling stories since the beginning of time. It's because it's ingrained in us. So for a computer to come out and be like, "Hey, here I am," when they're really just kind of ripping off other things that they've randomly find from the internet. So I'm just I'm not a fan of it, and I know people use it, and I understand the arguments that people say, like like especially with the art, like on X with the cover art for the indie books, but or self-published books, but I just don't. I don't know. There's just something about it that just kind of irks me. Uh, and I would never like argue or fight somebody about it. I'm not going to go there because you do what you need to do. Your journey is not my journey, but I don't believe that AI really has a place necessarily.
Yeah, I'm pretty well known to agree with you completely. And I'm not going to harp on it here, but I think simply put, a real writer through centuries to today, a real writer puts his heart on the page. The Tin Man AI doesn't have a heart at all.
Yeah.
He can run an algorithm, grab a bunch of words, steal them from any other authors, mix them all around and try to present them, but it's heartless, empty words. And as you know, and I'll definitely testify that in the introduction to introducing the Scarlet Scrapper, when you put that book down and you finish reading it, it's not the words that you remember. It's the thrills, the excitement, and above all, the incredible emotion that these characters have, that they display, that they share, and the amazing emotions that you walk away with. And AI just simply can't do that, you know, and I don't think it ever will, you know. So I guess that's enough about AI, but I was curious how you felt about it because if you slid it past me while we were working together, then you're a magician.
Nope. No AI and Scrapper.
But I've actually had authors send me submissions that were AI written, and I had to tell them it's all over my website. It's almost every broadcast I do. My press doesn't accept AI work. You know,
Yeah.
I like working with human beings. Yeah.
Feels like the
But
way to go.
what do you think it'll be like the next time you go into a fast food restaurant and there's this silver robot dude standing there taking your order?
It'd be rather creepy.
Yeah, that'd be a little
Yeah.
odd. Well, the next segment that I always try to make time for is uh, I do put the links to your book and your social media, stuff like that, down in the description. But I share my videos across my whole platform, and some of them don't have the ability to see the description. So if you could maybe just tell the audience, you know, about your website, any social media that you have. And like I said, I'll put it in the description, but this way they'll hear it, they'll be able to go look you up and say hello.
Okay. I mean, you can Google, honestly, my name, Leonard Apa, and I am generally the first thing that pops up because I guess there's not many out there, but you may, if you scroll a little bit more, a little morbidly, you may find my father's obituary, but ignore that. So my website has all my social medias on it, and I am on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, and Instagram. Also on my website, there is a contact me page, and also a list of events that I'm a part of because I do have a couple signings coming up. In April, I'll actually be part of it's called Super Jersey Comic Expo, so I'll be there, which is really exciting because a lot of my favorite comic artists are actually already getting going there as guests, so that's really exciting to me. But my website, again, I say just Google my name, Leonard Apa, because I think it's like Leonard Apa at Weebly or Leonard Apa dash Weebly at, it's a Weebly account. I really want to get a better website. But for now, it'll do its job. So,
Yeah, yeah, as long as it does its job, right?
and then also on the website, all the links to buy Scrapper is up as well. So,
Well, this idea just hit me, but it sounds like such a great idea. If I remember right, Gabriella Fucinato did a fantastic artwork for the story. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. I think you should go to a seamstress or a good tailor, show them that picture, have them make you the Scarlet Scrapper costume and wear it to your events. That would be awesome.
that would be awesome. I actually, as much of a dork, I don't have my phone, or otherwise I'd show you. As much of a dork, I actually already have I have it. I've got the costume.
Oh,
I got the mask
fantastic.
and the hat.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And if you
actually,
don't mind, show your t-shirt again. That is a
oh,
fantastic t-shirt. That's great art.
yeah.
That is very well done.
I plan on actually giving these out at some of the signings, and then I'll also start selling them at some point. So,
Fantastic. Do you have them or will you have them on your website?
yeah. So when I actually get that going, yep.
Ah,
I do have a
fantastic.
merch section on there. I just haven't done anything with it yet because it's not really a bit ready yet. I don't.
Yeah,
Everything I tried for merch, I was trying to get shirts made up and things like that. Just nothing was working out. So all I have right now are bookmarks. So,
yeah.
which
Well,
actually,
everything starts with something.
so I got my bookmarks. That's
Yeah,
about it.
very cool.
Which
Very
actually,
cool.
this is art from another student. So
Uh-huh.
my kids like to do art for me. I love it. So
For many years, all the way back to my first company that was a construction company, I've used Vistaprint to do all sorts of things. Ball caps, t-shirts, ink pens, pretty much any product you can name, drinking bottle, doesn't matter what
yeah,
it is. And they do exceptionally excellent work. Uh, Maybe a little more expensive than some places, but you never have a problem with quality.
yeah,
Vistaprint's a good place to look for a variety of different products. And so you might want to go there and just browse around, see if something catches your eye.
yeah. I
Uh,
checked them out. This I got actually through Canva. I had them print it.
mhm.
And I also have a banner for the signings with an author banner and the scrapper banner coming. So
Yeah,
that's exciting. So, but yeah, at some point I was trying to do the shirts myself. Didn't work out.
yeah.
I had like a whole shirt press and everything. It just wasn't working.
Oh, yeah, I learned that I think in high school. Printing screen printing, is that what it's called?
um, yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. It was like a hot press. Yep.
Yeah. There's no way I could do that now. My memory only goes back, a few days. If it wasn't for my calendar, I wouldn't even remember that I'm married. I'm gonna cut that. Don't want my wife to hear that.
Good
Oh.
call.
So how's every little thing in a very busy world? You're a high school teacher, right?
Yep, I teach high school English, freshmen, mostly freshmen. Um, but it's well, this year's been a big year of change for the high school because the state's going through educational budget crisis, and our district especially. So they had to merge our high schools. So I had to completely switch into a new school, change my whole classroom. Now I have to share a classroom. It's a whole thing. But on the up note, surprisingly, the freshmen this year are less obnoxious than they've been the past like 4 years. So hopefully the whole COVID issue where that kind of learning gap happened, hopefully that's kind of passing at this point. They seem like a good group. So that's nice to see. So
Yeah. So I'm curious, have you let your students know how very blessed they are to have a real author as their English teacher?
it's funny. I tell them that on the first day of school. I'm like, guys, I'm really going to be a stickler with the writing because I'm a writer myself. I have a book coming out in a couple of weeks. And then today somebody asked me a question, or they ended up Googling me because they randomly Google me. And they're like, wait, you have a website? I'm like, yes, we talked about this. Wait, you have a book coming? I was like, we've talked about this. So today they're like, how can I get the book? I was like, you can order it. You can come to a signing. So yeah, they get pretty excited. And that's
Yeah,
usually when the art starts coming in too.
something you ought to consider is I don't know who you would talk to, the superintendent of schools or your principal. See if you can get your book as a curriculum. Get it in as for your whole class, for each of your classes, because there's so much to be learned in the story itself and in the writing of the story that all can apply to English and would be brilliant to expose young minds to that.
Yeah,
So
that'd be cool actually.
yeah, you can play this video for the superintendent and say, what do we say? We get 100 copies of the book and teach the students at least a semester of our class about writing strong emotion and gripping action. And, you may create the next super famous writer in their generation, you
That'd be
know,
awesome.
that
Yeah.
would be super cool. Yeah.
It's funny because the teacher who I'm now sharing a classroom with, I used to teach creative writing at the old high school. So the teacher I'm sharing the classroom with, she teaches creative writing, and she's actually going to have me come in to talk to the kids about the publishing side of it and the writing and so on. So that might be the start of it. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then actually my the media center, the librarian, she is going to set up some kind of author event for there too. So
Oh,
we have some ideas going with there. That's it'll be fun.
fantastic. Yeah. I think that
That's a good idea. I like it.
every pair of eyes that can possibly read that story, I hope they can read that story. What a great story. I mean, I love it from cover to cover. It's fantastic. I salute your skills as a writer. Absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait to see the sequel and then its sequel.
Yep.
Ooh,
Trilogy and done.
much, so much excitement to be had. I'm really looking forward to all of it. Mr. Appa, thank you so much for taking the time to see the show, to
Thank
come
you
and
again
do
for
the
having me.
show. I'm tired, 12th hour of work. But I'm glad you were here to watch me, you know. But no, it really has been a great pleasure. I'm so excited to hear about the sequel. That time skip and the character change is absolutely fascinating. I can't wait to see what happens. So, yeah, if you want an arc reader, I'll volunteer because that
Nice.
sounds great.
All right. So I just want to thank you again for being the editor on the book. And if you are watching and listening, you should definitely check Rod out because he was fantastic. He made the whole process fun, easy, and we worked really well together. And I can only imagine Rod worked really well with pretty much everybody. So thank you. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you. I love such kind words. I hope I live up to them every day because, I'm trying to make a difference. It pretty much defines everything I do 6 days a week, 15 hours a day. I'm trying to make a difference. And meeting an exceptional writer like yourself is such an honor. It really is. And I can't thank you enough. I mean, I'm so happy that we met and that our friendship continues.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too.
Looking forward to all the fun and exciting stuff you're going to write in the future. Uh, can't wait to see it all.
I'm working on it.
Well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, honestly, Relax and Chat episode 37 really does have to come to a close. As goofy as I am, I really do use the free version of Zoom, and we're out of time. So, everybody, have a wonderful day. I look forward to seeing you next time.
Bye, folks. Thanks, Rod.
Thank you.